Greetings. As promised last week, we are going to be wrapping up chapter 4 of the Bhagavad Gita. And in this talk, I wanted to focus on a verse that serves as the basis of what is sometimes referred to as the food prayer. And this is verse 24. And this verse reads, The process of offering is Brahman. That which is offered is Brahman. Brahman offers the sacrifice in the fire of Brahman. Brahman is attained by those who see Brahman in every action. The reason this serves the basis of what is called the food prayer is because this is a prayer that is recited, at least by those who take up this particular practice of using this prayer. It's recited before taking a meal. I find that really interesting. What I find interesting about it is that most of us probably take about 3 meals a day, right? So breakfast, lunch, dinner. You say this same prayer 3 times a day, every day. Kind of sounds like something that is supposed to remind us of something. I believe earlier in this series of talks, I pointed out that Arjuna is a faithful devotee. It's not that he is learning this stuff in the Gita for the first time. He's being reminded of stuff that he already knows, but he's forgotten. I know for myself, remaining in the state of mind, the quality of awareness that this verse is invoking, namely the state of awareness in which we are aware of God, the divine, Brahman, just being present in everything, including us. All is God, to put it one way. I personally find this state of mind to be something I'm not always in. I cannot say with any honesty that I am in that state of mind 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. I would probably go so far as to say, as most of the time, I forget that all is God. I'll give a perfect example. Today, I went for a walk in the woods. I was trying to think about, things to say about this verse, and I'm looking for a nice quiet spot where I can kind of reflect. And I did find one eventually, but as I was walking through the woods, I noticed I was swatting away bugs, and I was getting caught up in spider webs, and I'm like, spitting out the spider webs, they get in your mouth sometimes, swatting away the bugs. And at some point I realized I'm reflecting on a verse that's supposed to invoke the idea that God is in everything. So if I'm swatting away a bug, I'm swatting away God. If I'm spitting a spider web out of my mouth, I'm kind of spitting out a little piece of God. Now, there are plenty of people I've met who also walk a spiritual path who are very, very in tune, like deeply, deeply in tune with this idea of God being in everything. I've met a lot of people, I've listened to a lot of teachers, read plenty of books of people who have a kind of access to that quality of awareness that I don't have all the time. But I know that when I do get it, my God, isn't it sweet? Isn't that such a sweet sensation? It's not even a sensation, really. It's something beyond sensation, where I am just aware, I would say. We're talking about awareness itself, which is kind of hard to talk about, right? It's much easier to talk about things we're aware of, Like I'm aware of birds chirping and the sun shining, and it's very beautiful. But then to take a step back and be aware of that awareness is interesting. And then to take another step back and to see the awareness and the thing I'm aware of, it's all God. And when I do step into that state of awareness, which is almost never intentional, it kind of happens by accident for me anyway. I'm not sure about anyone else, but this is the kind of awareness, the kind of state of mind which I can't force. I can't make it happen. It kind of washes over me whenever it does. It comes and goes. I know that there are certain things I can do to ensure that I won't have such an experience, like being judgmental of other people. That's a pretty good way to avoid having this kind of God consciousness. If I'm jealous of others, if I'm lustful to others, those are all excellent ways to avoid God consciousness, right? Those are all great ways to avoid seeing God in everything, because those are states of mind in which I am very clearly drawing boundaries and lines. The last line of this verse is really the theme of the whole verse. That's kind of what Krishna is trying to get Arjuna to understand. The lines that precede it, per my understanding, is actually supposed to serve as kind of an example of this idea of seeing Brahman in every action. The specific example that Krishna chooses is ritual offerings. What he's basically saying is that whenever you're making an offering to Brahman, you are offering Brahman to Brahman. The ritual itself is Brahman. You are Brahman. The implications of, really embodying this perspective of seeing God in everything are just incalculable. We really can't even conceive of the reach, the implications of really holding such a view will entail. What kind of effects does this have on a person who, even for a moment, sees God in everything? Let alone someone like a saint or a self-realized being who sees God in everything all the time. I am not such a being, so I can only speak from the experience of having little glimpses of this state of awareness. And I can tell you that even just seeing God in everything for just a moment can be kind of overwhelming, actually, if I'm being honest. It can be so overwhelming that the only thing I can do is release it through love, through loving kindness. It's like the only hope, because if you try and just keep it all to yourself, it's kind of like a balloon that's overinflated. Again, this is a state of mind that I find very difficult to maintain, and so when it does come on, I'm very grateful, and I take it as a little bonus, a little taste of something that hopefully, as I continue on this path, I'll get more of, because it's such a very sweet experience to go beyond seeing other people from the perspective of my ego, and instead seeing them not just from the perspective of seeing them the way God sees them, with unconditional love, but to see them as God. I don't know what else more to say about it, except that it's just a very, very sweet experience. So let me know in the comments below what you think about this lovely little prayer, this lovely verse. Let me know what your experiences are, your thoughts are on seeing Brahman in all, seeing Brahman in every action, and seeing Brahman in everybody. Thanks, everybody, for listening to these, if you have been. Next time we meet, we'll be diving into Chapter 5, so I'm excited. Thanks very much.